Again tonight with an update on this year's Texas Jazz Festival, the longest running free jazz festival in the world. The 58th annual event was supposed to happen next month at Heritage Park, where it's been for many years, but the festival organizers said additional security requested by the city could force them to find a new venue. That may still happen, but as of tonight, we're told the group is again negotiating with the city, trying to come up with a solution. Our Taylor Alanis has the latest update on this top story. Taylor?
Joe, should they stay or should they go? Organizers say this year the city could require them to make some changes that could cost them an estimated $40,000. But with only 48 days away from the Texas Jazz Festival, they need to be able to make a decision quick. Organizers say the city has taken a very proactive stance to terrorism and wants security to be beefed up. If you have been to the festival in the past, you may have noticed it is pretty easy to access because there are no gates or a main entrance. This is where the $40,000 worth of requirements come in, which would go towards things like more barricades and security guards. A press release sent out this morning says after 17 years in Heritage Park, the festival may have to change venues. In order for the festival to stay, organizers say the new costs the city is requiring have to go down.
We try to take a proactive stance too by getting additional security in the park. So it would have to be a compromise and or something that's realistic within our budget.
Texas Jazz Festival Society President Emilio Reyes says it's too late in the game to add more sponsors that could offset any costs that the event may incur. Reyes says venues nearby host events at the same time as the festival, which make it hard to keep the area a car or a traffic-free zone. That in turn can limit growth. Organizers say they do have other venues that are interested in hosting, but they would very much like to keep the tradition alive and stay in Heritage Park because of its classic beauty. The Texas Jazz Festival officials will meet with the City Council tomorrow to try to determine the fate of the event's location, where it will be, but organizers say the show will go on no matter what, October 19th to the 21st.